There may come a day when the courage of the bloated corpse comes crashing down, but guys, it is not this day. And today, guys, we're here with the showdown between the Vampire Coast. We're going to be coming in with the Penta bloated corpse build. So I think this is a record on the channel. And as far as ladder goes, you actually can't bring more than 5 bloated corpses. So this is the limit. And we're going to be facing off against the Dark Elves, who are going to be coming in with Marathi. So guys, the Penta bloated corpse, I almost said quad because that's what I had done in the past, but today we're going for a record. Can we win a game with 5 bloated corpses? Certainly a little bit easier now. With the Hunter and the Beast DLC, these bad boys did have a cost reduction. They used to cost 500, which was horribly overpriced. And I think now they cost like 350 or 400, which is still probably, I mean, arguably maybe a little bit overpriced. But, you know, if they do make impact in some matchups, they actually can do quite a bit of damage. And you guys will hopefully get to see some of that in this game, as there are some colossal victories for the bloated corpses and also some horrible failures. Now, as far as the build goes, aside from the 5 bloaty boys, who I didn't even bother hiding them, usually, like, if you were going to try and mix them in a competitive game and make some value out of them, for example, you would have like an artillery piece right here, and you would hide the bloated corpse in the trees, and when some cav come or some pressuring units, they would take the full brunt of the glorious bloated corpse. But in this case, I'm just going in balls deep. I'm like, I'm just going to wear it proudly on my sleeve. We're going in, we're charging in, and hopefully having a good time. But anyways, deckhand mobs in the front. We do, of course, have a Vampire Fleet Captain, Luther Harkin, both very competitive picks. So I have to have a couple good units. I can't just have all terrible stuff. So Luther plus the Vampire Fleet Captain should be quite strong. Luther, one of the best like assassins / duelists in the game, and man, this guy just does work. In the secondary row, we do have Sirens as well. So I figure if I can get like a good bloated corpse blob on some some Dark Elf units, and then follow up the Sirens, I can get terror routes, and you know, it's a little bit of sustainability. If they don't have like allocated magic damage, the Sirens can be quite good. Last but not least, we do have a group of Mourngulls. The Mourngulls are going to be super defensive. I don't like to send them in very aggressively against the Dark Elves, because I like to kind of keep them back, let the mortars saturate on the shades, and then from there just pull those bad boys in and just clean up shop. We got 2 halberds, 2 mortars in the back. Mortars are very good against shades. Carronades can do okay, but for the cost, mortars are very good against these type of builds. So basically what you do against Dark Elf missile builds, High Elf missile builds, is you have a very defensive Helm's Deep formation, unless you want to go with like a Crab Blitz, which can work. But how I like to do it with Vampire Coast is you basically get mortars, you get scurvy dogs, you pressure, you harass, and it can really kind of keep the shades in check if you're doing a good job. That's pretty much it. I mean, I can't afford much else. 2 scurvy dogs, one here on the far side and the other one here right here, and that is it. So for the army of the great Professor Pone, he has Bleak Swords in the front line, the chillest of bros, the Chill of Santar, who this is probably going to be one of the harder things in the army to take down. Since I invested, you know, probably about 1,500 gold in bloated corpses, I don't have any sort of missile pressure like cannons or any real anti-large aside from Luther Harkin to really take this down. I mean, I do have some halberds and stuff, but Chill of Santar here is actually going to be quite scary. We do have Bleak Swords here in the back, 2 groups of Witch Elves, and the Sisters of Singing Doom here in the middle. And again, Rampage, very, very strong. If they're able to rampage Luther and shoot them with shades, it is value city. On top of that, he does have 3 groups of Shades, and I think Shades are just an incredibly powerful unit against Vampire Coast. Their guns can't really take them out that effectively. They can take out crabs, they can take out gun lines. They're pretty powerhouses as it pertains to their melee stats, so if they have to fight against zombies in the late game, they're kind of hard to kill, and it's really, really good stuff. He's got a couple groups of Dark Riders as well, and Dark Riders are a must, not only for harassing the back line of the Vampire Coast, but more importantly, for actually fending off Scurvy Dog play. So guys, that's pretty much it. Let us see if the bloated corpse can get in there and do some work. So firstly, guys, we're going to be charging in. I just gave the order. I was like, go charge forth corpses and zombies, and we're going to be moving them all forward here. Mortars are going to be shooting in against shades and doing some, you know, topical damage. Oh, that was actually a really good shot right there, but actually getting some good work in against the shades. Now, one group of scurvy dogs was kind of caught in the back, so a little bit sad about that, but the other scurvy dogs, I do have a bit of a trap to lay. So I'm going to pull the scurvy dogs back here, and then from there, I'll grab the Mourngulls, I'll peel off, jump on them. The Mourngulls do, of course, have stock, so I should be okay. The Chill of Santar is able to get a breath attack there on the Sirens, and it looks like Marathi is going to be using her wand right here. And guys, the first bloated corpse is going to be striking. These Witch Elves, they see it too late, and here they go. Yeah, I mean, nobody expects it, right? So it's kind of like you have to do a reality check for a moment, but let's watch this. So the bloated corpse is, you know, 38 speed against 44, but it does get an acceleration when it gets close. So, oh yeah, here it comes. Here comes the bloated corpse, and the damage is coming in, and steel chaired. That is a value train. So that thing pretty much just got KO'd right there. Now, the other 2 bloated corpses are charging in. I left 2 in reserve for the most part, so I decided to keep them back. So this one is going to be charging in here, but he was kind of privy to it after that first explosion there, and you can see, bring it down, bring it down! And the 2 bloated corpses do get taken out, and oh my god, it destroyed the Tide of Skill! That is so haggard. The perfect game right there. So far, some value has been accrued. I mean, over here, we were able to take out those Dark Riders, Scurvy Dogs, and Mourngulls did a good job there. We did take out some Witch Elves, pretty much 100 to 0. They're pretty much a non-factor now. And the Mortars have also done good work against the Shades. However, you know, my front line is pretty much non-existent. The zombies are getting crumped everywhere, Bleak Swords, and the bloated corpses actually ended up doing quite a bit of friendly damage. So here we do have a nice isolation. We are able to get the Chill of Santar. We have some zombies, Luther Harkin with Soul Blight. unfortunately, and is fighting against this Chill of Sontar. But we have a 2v1, it's taunted, we're getting a lot of damage in. Granted, I always feel like maybe I should ignore the Chill of Sontar. It is really, really hard to kill without regeneration, especially since I don't have any supporting missile fire. But Marathi's going to be jumping in, so Marathi comes in for a duel here, and Luther Harkin is going to be turning about face to attack Marathi, and he gets a couple of huge blows on Marathi, but Professor Pone does have the Sisters of Singing Doom coming in, so if I get rampaged, that could be very, very, dire, especially considering two groups of Shades are now just going full auto and just dumpstering Luther, just doing huge damage. Now, I believe the one bloated corpse has fallen back, the other one's hiding in the trees now, so I'm like, okay, like he's aware, let's hide them and wait till he forgets, and then bring those bad boys out and potentially get some work in. So unfortunately, Luther Harkin is afflicted by a Soul Stealer. Very, very good play there by Pone. He's also going to be still rampaging me with the Sisters of Singing Doom, and we have the Duel of the Ages. So I do finally just get one last invocation of Nehekov, keeping Luther alive. 117, 130, 103 HP. It is so close. And the Vampire Fleet Captain is going to be jumping on Marathi, and I need to get her here. Otherwise, it's just going to be a huge disaster if she gets away, because then she can Soul Stealer. I don't have any cannons or other tools. Oh, and the Fleet Captain with the overhand steel chair takes her out. And Luther Harkin just barely lives. But again, he's disintegrating. He's rampaged by the Sisters of Singing Doom. Certainly not looking good. But guys, the age of the bloated corpse is here. So we have one coming up here to get this blob, and the other bloated corpse is going to be turning right here to jump on the Sisters of Singing Doom in just a moment, I think. I can't remember where I go with him. But here comes the first one. He jumps right into the blob and pretty much kills my own troops, but 100% worth it. Just, it's more about with these guys sending a message. So here we're going to be jumping around on the Sisters, and he gets the blob, and he blows up, doing a ton of damage to those guys. So 3 of the 5 corpses were actually able to get some pretty good value. So far, or at this point I should say, both armies are actually leaderless. So knowing there's a ton of Witch Elves and lightly armored troops, I do drop my second summon of these Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs, and these guys have really good damage against light armor, so they're going to be teeing off against the Witch Elves here, really actually doing a ton of damage against these Naked Ladies. Over here we do have our second group of Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs, which are about to disintegrate here, but they've been able to actually push back Shades. So really, really good stuff there. So if we take inventory of the battlefield, I do have my 2 mortars in the back, and for the first time I'm a little bit ahead on the bounce of power, but it's a little bit deceptive because once he does get back here with the Witch Elves and kills these 2 mortars, like, unlike Empire, you can't really run with undead mortars because they're so slow, they're just going to get caught, but we're getting some pretty good crossfire coming in, and I still do have my caster. The Vampire Fleet Captain is still alive, and I'm quite happy about that. My summons have done a great job, but guys, the Chill of Sontar is coming back. He's healed, he's pissed, and he's going to be dropping a huge breath attack downtown here, so I know it's a little bit tragic. There's no more bloated corpse action, but I think they pay their dues, and it was certainly quite a bit of fun to see that in action. Now, the first of the Witch Elves from Professor Pone have gotten back here, and they're going to be tearing apart these zombies. So I still tried to run. It's just good etiquette to get in the form of practicing that, because it forces your opponent at the very least to overextend. So for example, if I had stood on the mortar and fought, it's a little bit of distance that I forced him to chase me, and it can make a difference. It's not like the most important thing in the world, but nonetheless, typically you do want to disengage those mortars and run. So one mortar crew is offline, and it looks like, guys, the Dark Elves are going to be pulling ahead pretty hard on the bounce of power, as the Chill of Sontar is causing a lot of problems here. Granted, it is surrounded by halberds, and the Mourngulls are still somewhat healthy. I was able to get one last invocation of Nehek on those guys. I'm pretty sure I was like almost out of Winds of Magic at this point. So Mourngulls are going to be getting back on the Shades, which is huge, and the Chill of Sontar is in the fight for its life here, basically, but they're still ahead on that bounce of power. So one group of Shades is going to be shattering. The Mourngulls back here with their inflatable wacky arms are going to be slapping up the Shades. Shades, of course, are infantry. The bonus versus infantry on the Mourngulls is great, but more importantly, the more important situation here is the fact that when the Mourngulls attack things in melee, they actually heal because they have the hunger. So the longer I can kind of fight these guys and heal, the better. Over here on the far side, Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs are going to be chasing down the other group of Shades, and the Chill of Sontar actually kind of loses the duel here against all these halberds. Granted, I mean, there's still 61 halberds plus a fairly strong character. I mean, Vampire casters, if you compare them to other factions, are actually very, very strong. So we're going to be chasing the Hydra here, but I have to be careful because if Pone decides to turn around and jump me for a second, he can get a really good gooning. So you can see there's some cat and mouse here, charging and pulling back and charging and pulling back. And the Mourngul's doing a great job just chasing here, but he gets a heal proc. Oh, the extra heads proc coming into the Hydra's going to be turning around at this point. It is pissed. And it gets a huge blow right there on the Vampire Fleet Captain. I do get one more invocation of the heck right there to kind of keep her from just getting gooned instantly, which is critical binding. This Hydra is going in for the kill. It is taunted, so it's slow now, and halberds have gotten a decent surround. A lot of burst damage coming in for those halberds, actually. And we are taking out the Chill of Sontar. It's so close. 1300 HP on this Hydra, and my character is crumbling, 18 HP, and down she goes. But man, she did a good job this battle, really taking out Marathi and some of those other threats. Now, before she goes, her and the halberds are actually able to break off the Chill of Sontar, which is going to be probably running to the edge of the battlefield. So I will be chasing it for as long as I can. Granted, I do have 23 speed here, and the Chill of Sontar is 46, so it may come back. Granted, it's broken like twice already, so there's a chance it might not. Over here, the Morgul's are able to get their paws on the shades, and the other halberds are able to get on the other group of shades. So this is a great situation. Now, as far as what the Dark Elves have left, they have some Witch Elves here, they have some Bleak Swords. Bleak Swords coming back here, and I do, have these Crumbling Zombies, but really the Morgul's are going to be the saving grace. Now, I do pull ahead, like actually ahead here in this battle. You can see the bounce of power maybe about 5 to 10% in my favor. We're going to do a little bit of fast forwarding, as it is really monotonous to watch the zombies march around. Witch Elves are able to actually capture the deckhand mobs and should be able to tear them to shreds, but I do get like 200 HP damage, so certainly not bad. And the Morgul's here are just basically trying to chase down the shades, but I realized based on their speed I couldn't catch them. They have 42, I have like 45. It's pretty close, right? So both of us, Pone and I, both know it is time for the final showdown. The fate of Middle-earth, or the Bloated Corpse Middle-earth, or whatever you guys want to call it, shall be decided here in this moment. The halberds are coming forward, and I still have 91 of these bad boys. Now, thankfully for the Dark Elves, Morgul's do not cause terror anymore, so they're not going to be able to get a huge instant terror out, which pretty much would have guaranteed my victory. The Shades are still here, and Shades with a little bit of focus fire coming in from 20 models, which really is it's a third of their starting capacity, which still isn't bad considering. If they are able to get some work here on the Morgul's, maybe. It's pretty slim pickings for sure. It's going to be hard, but it's certainly possible. Now in the front here, the zombie-powered deckhand mobs are waddling their way in with that charge bonus of 3, but you know what? Everything counts. That charge bonus of 3 is very, very important here. So they're going to be coming in with their pitchforks out, their rakes or halberds or whatever hell they're using now. It's like actual halberds. They're going to be charging into the Bleak Swords. Bleak Swords do take a bit of damage on impact, and the Morgul's coming in with the wacky inflatable arms, and they're just going to be pushing in. They also all cause fear, so that is quite nice. And man, they're feasting on the souls of these Dark Elves. And I don't know if the Dark Elves are going to be able to stabilize. Oh, that Witch Elf just getting cleaved in half. She done got half by that Morgul. And the Morgul's are going to be surging into the shades, but they're rampaging at this point, so I pretty much have just lost control. So I was like, all right, hands off the keyboard, let's see what happens. And the Morgul's and the halberds and the glorious Penta Bloated Corpse build is able to come in with the steel chair and take out the Dark Elves. So, unfortunately, without doing custom battles, I can't go any higher than 5, but we'll see in a battle if I can win with 6 someday. But you know what? With the cost reduction, it certainly made it a lot better. Like, had they had their original cost, it would have been, 2,500 gold for 6 of these guys, give or take, which... 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oh, no, I'm just totally off. Yeah, so we'll see here. But nonetheless, it would have been a lot more expensive, right? So getting the cost reduction made this build slightly more viable. Now, if I had the old build, for example, I probably couldn't have had the Sirens or another heroic unit. That really actually made a pretty big difference here. So, still arguably, not even arguably, but as a matter of fact, they're still not competitive. But, maybe mixing in one against players here and there, because it only costs 300 gold now, could be worth it. Maybe against a faction where you're going to be expecting some heavy pressure on your back line, just kind of hide it in the trees next to an artillery piece, maybe. And against Chosen, against that one group of Witch Elves. So Witch Elves cost what did they cost? 800, 900. He was able to get his value back. And another one arguably got his value back against those Bleak Swords, but still, they nuked my own troops too. This Tide of Skill literally got 90 to 10%. So that was pretty nasty for sure. So you got to be careful, tread lightly with these bad boys. But nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. It was incredibly fun. Well played, Professor Pone. Please make sure to check out his YouTube channel. And him and I are going to be doing a bunch of streams. We're going to be doing some Magic streams together for the new upcoming Magic set and other stuff. So if you haven't checked him out, please do. He's definitely a very cool dude. So well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Vampire Coast Penta Bloated Corpse build. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.